but
Mikkel, find someone to sponsor Ginger Bill's plane ticket.
yeah.
Hello, this is Handmade After Dark. So if anybody wants to sponsor Ginger Bill's plane ticket to Handmade Con, Casey, are you listening? Welcome to another episode of Handmade After Dark.
What?
Hello.
What?
Yes, just whatever.
No,
We'll
yeah.
carry on with it. Go along with it. Zach, come on.
Do we have a Zach? You're an idiot. Oh,
What happened, Zach?
He was not prepared for you
No,
to
I
start.
wasn't. I wasn't ready for
I
another.
started it before I said that line. I started about 10 seconds before.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I'm going to Handmade Con. Zach is going to Handmade Con.
I am.
Alan's going to Handmade Con. This bloody bastard isn't. So yeah, if anybody wants to sponsor a plane ticket, which Casey has actually talked about, which is weird.
Like a few $100 would be great, man.
How much is it? Like, actually, how much is it?
I
$600,
paid
$700, something like that.
I paid in total $580 for my plane tickets.
Yeah, it's about $600.
Then I still have
I haven't
to
got
eat
a-
and sleep, and
Yeah,
for
I haven't got
us, driver costs a crunchy, so also gas.
Yeah, petrol's not. Well, petrol in America is dead cheap. Like in this
Oh,
country,
yeah.
it's like how much is America per gallon?
I haven't bought it recently. I can't even tell you.
Like
I'm
could
not-
put like
I'm not-
$3 per
Yeah.
gallon.
$3
It's twice that much in the
And
UK.
then it's way too much. Price of gas.
Yeah, if it gets up
Okay,
to
we have
four,
the
we
highest
complain
tax in
really
entire
hard,
Europe.
and everyone's got to do something about it.
The average rate now in the U.S. is 218. So
Yeah, it's been pretty
Yeah,
low.
it's about $4 or $5 per gallon in the UK.
Yeah, it was 3 for a while. Like a few years ago, it was 3 pretty often. If it ever got to 4, people started complaining hardcore. Like this is
well,
unsustainable.
we had that rate where it got down to like 150. It was like insane. I remember how cheap.
Yeah.
It's about
Crazy.
$5-6 a gallon here.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even afford to drive.
Yeah, it would
it's
never
just-
get that
in
high,
the UK, it's all tax. We actually have the cheapest fuel in Europe, but the tax is so high.
You're not part of Europe.
No, we are part of the
Oh,
continent
not the
of Europe.
European Union. Sorry.
The European Union, we're going to leave that soon in a few months. For numerous reasons I don't want to get into because politics.
But geographically speaking,
Geographically
European
speaking, we're part of
continent.
Europe. Even though Europe isn't even a continent, it's Eurasia, if you want to be technical.
Hey,
Like, that's
Bill,
Play
you
tectonic level continents.
Bill, you
Yeah.
love being technical, calling procedures, subtype polymorph.
Exactly, I know that.
You're
Yeah,
insane.
so you love using all those stupid
I am
words that no one
insane.
cares
I am
about.
insane. I am ginger, for God's sake. I am not normal. Only like 8% of the population in the UK.
we right
is
before we started
ginger.
the show, we were all talking about how it's kind of amazing that we made this handmade community is all that sociable. We're also all insane.
Yes, that is true.
That may
Maybe
be why
there's a
we're.
correlation there. Should
Yeah,
we do a
that's-
study?
I think the best way why we don't together because we all we are different levels of insane, but we're all insane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can be a programmer and not be insane.
No, of course. Well, like,
Maybe.
sitting
You can.
in front of your computer for 8 hours a day is not appealing for anyone.
I think you could be a programmer and not be insane. I don't think it would be very fulfilling.
No, of course not. No.
Maybe programming is just part of your job and you're something else, like
Yeah,
you're an
you're not a-
accountant
Yeah,
or
okay,
a
that is
physicist
true.
or a chemist or whatever.
But,
Sure.
But if you're a programmer, you're at least insane and
Yes.
sadist. Like you love being angry and getting yourself hurt.
Yes, you like solving problems, but you like also
You have to be. I think it's a
yourself in the
little
mood every
masochistic.
day. It's
Yeah,
great.
you have to be masochistic.
I know as soon as I type the word Vulcan, include Vulcan, or search it up on Google, I'm going to start getting mad instantly. So it's like.
But we
No,
still
I usually get
do
mad
it.
when I have to type Win32 into Google. That is usually the
Yeah,
Actually,
that's normally not
the
good.
only reason
When I have
Win32
to-
makes me mad is because I don't know it. When I don't know something Win32, it makes me really mad because I know the Windows API really well. But when I have to Google something, I get really mad because I'm like, I've done all this stuff. a
You
million
know,
times,
I
why
would.
am
It's
doing
not
it?
when I have to type Win32 in because I actually have to do that a lot because I forget names easily. But here's when I do get mad at when I'm programming is when I'm on a page on MSDN and I have to click a link because then you know shit's going down. Like I'm copying
Yeah.
struct members or some other crazy shit's going on, and I'm
But
trying
you're
to track
more
down the
than-
right order of function calls.
When
So
you're
if I have to
more-
click a link on an MSDN page, then I'm definitely
Yeah, when you're
in a
more than
bad
one level deep in MSDN, that's when shit starts. Yeah,
Yay.
like, the last programming search I did was Unity execution order. Because it's a big chart with like 32 different things on it.
Wow.
Little flowchart situation.
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
Oh, no any UML diagrams then? No.
No, and my God, if I know I have to make more, but I really don't wanna.
Oh, Zach, are you going to be making UML diagrams?
No.
Hey,
Ah,
UML
well, that's
diagrams are great to solve
the team is
problems. Have
5
you never
people,
heard of this
The
before?
programming team is
Like,
5
if you have a
people.
problem, you must solve it with the UML diagrams.
Yeah, Alan, the
It's
programming
so
team
great.
is 5 people. They're pretty awesome too. So I'm
That's
not
cool.
going to do any of that. Yeah,
That's cool.
I'm going to be doing things with PhysX, the NVIDIA API. Like I'm going to be doing all those optimizations and stuff like that. So
Awesome.
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to it because I'll have the source, like the whole source for NVIDIA PhysX. So it'll be really nice it'll be nice that I can actually go and see what it's doing, so I can see what it's expecting to optimize for it instead of just sitting there and like black box trying to optimize. Yeah, I hate that, but it should be interesting work for the first few months at least, and then I'm gonna do like Steam API integration and all that bullshit. So
Yeah, neato.
Cool.
yeah,
Cute.
it'll be nice to have my name on a game. You know, that's always a good thing to put on your resume.
Yeah.
So-
I know some people talking about it in the community, and I also thought about it again, just making a little shitty game, like in Unity or anything, put it
I've
out.
made numerous Ludum Dare ones, or
Yeah,
Ludum
but not
Dare,
Ludum
that's
Dare.
it.
Like make a little shitty 12-week game you actually put out on like the Play Store, iOS Store.
Yeah.
Because even though it's
I'd love to do that.
even though it's a no name, the fact that you have a name on your resume, you get instantly bumped up.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. People really value when they see your name on the game. I don't understand why specifically.
Well, you've
because
actually
it doesn't really
completed
mean-
something.
but not really. You could join a project a week before and get your name on World of Warcraft or something like that. But it's
Yeah,
like
but its completion is the problem. You've actually done something and you actually gone through with it. Is the problem? Is the thing. You've not just started something and then whatever, I'll do it later. You've actually done. No, I'm doing it and I've done it.
yeah,
That's
no.
kind of what people like. You can do stuff and complete it.
Plus, if you put a little shit ass game on iOS and you're in the lucky fame road,
the
in
0.1%.
the lucky fame road, and you for some reason it becomes huge. Hey, extra money. I'm not good. It's that easy in Unity to include ads, so I wouldn't mind the extra money.
I honestly don't think I can complete a Unity program with my sanity.
I can.
The engine makes me so angry when I start using it.
I'm not sure about Unity. I have not got enough experience with it. The only time I ever tried to use it, I did start getting that feeling very quickly. That's like, I don't want to do this. And this was before I was even that grumpy. I was a kid. So I was already like looking at Unity like, I don't think I want to do this. I just don't think this is a good path for me. I don't know. And since I've become a grumpy person, which has been something that happened in the last like 3 or 4 years, I have definitely like avoided Unity hardcore because I know it hits right in that strike zone of
Yeah, it just
things that are going to get me going.
I can deal with Unreal just because Unreal you get the source to at least. Like you can at least understand what's going on at some sort.
I see, Bill. You opened the picture.
Yes.
That's the Unity execution order for mono
What is that?
behaviors.
That's not that bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just it's a lot
No,
fun to
but my
remember.
problem is, it's like you could have like 3 of those steps could just completely removed.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
already looking at them. No, 5 of them. I can find 5 I can remove.
But not
Yeah.
only that, but remember that's run for each mono behavior, and it's all
Wait, what?
and it's all overloaded functions.
Oh, lovely.
Oh man,
Overload function. My favorite.
Oh wait, overloaded methods.
My favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
they're
Are you talking about like overridden, like you're overriding
Yeah,
virtual
well,
thing?
you're kinda because
Wait, is it overridden virtual functions or overridden functions?
it's a bit weird because you don't you don't normally override in C# if you override, but because it's actually called by the C++ part of Unity, so it just expects it if it sees it's
so
there,
awesome.
it calls it.
I don't understand why they just don't let you.
But there are
burn C++.
also
That's all they
there's
do is
also
convert it.
default behaviors of all of them in mono
I just
behavior.
don't understand. What is the point of having?
It's so awesome to be like, yes, this is C# and C++. So it has all the benefits of not being portable and also all the benefits of, interfacing between 2 languages when it's kind of
I just
great.
don't understand why they couldn't just expose C++. Life would be so much easier. Like,
Because it's not set up for
I
it.
don't know. I don't know.
It's not set up at
Actually, you can
Because the
compile
whole
the
point of
game.
C# is you've got garbage collection, and a lot of people think that's great for memory management, but I think that's not the solution to anything ever.
that is definitely not
Garbage.
the
Here's what garbage collection is when you think about it. It's taking a situation where you had a lot of context about what you wanted to do with memory, but made it essentially a simple problem, and you made it an NP hard problem by throwing away your
Yes.
context. That's all it is. You threw away all the context, and now it's an NP hard problem.
Like the
Awesome.
whole point, I think, with like memory management isn't even hard even for beginners, because there's like you can put them into two categories, and then it means you've got 4 sections you can put it into. Like it's either you know how much memory you need to allocate, or you know how much how long lifetimes of the memory is.
Right.
90% of the time, you know the size and the lifetime.
Yeah.
That's like 95% of the time. Some of the time, you may know the size. Sometimes you know the lifetime, but you may not know both together. And I mean, literally, very, very, very rarely, you don't know the size or the lifetime. That's what the garbage collection solves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you shouldn't get yourself into that situation in the first place. If you get into that situation, you've fucked up somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's like it
And it's
goes
like-
back to like the know your
Like,
data
if you
thing.
don't know the lifetime and you don't know the size of the allocation,
What do you
you
know?
cocked
You don't
up.
you don't understand your program. You don't know what you're
no,
doing.
Yeah, that's
you
just a
don't
matter of-
understand your problem. You don't
Yeah.
understand the problem you're trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I think that is what garbage collection solves, and that's the problem. It shouldn't solve that problem. It shouldn't exist.
No, yeah, I don't think it automates something that you shouldn't even. I don't know. I think the easiest way to think about it is that it makes something where you had a ton of context and throws away all of that, and it becomes this really crazy problem. It's like, ideally, what you do is you make an efficient thing, and you try to run as many things through that because it's efficient already. So you want to reduce other problems to that. Garbage collection is like, we've got this thing that can't be efficient. Let's run everything through that. It's awesome.
Exactly. And people say, yeah, but garbage collection technology's got so great nowadays. And but why do you even need it in the first place?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
doesn't
it's gotten better if it's still an inherently flawed idea.
Yeah, it's an inherently flawed idea. Like, it's solving a problem that shouldn't exist. Not,
Yeah.
it's great. It's solving a problem,
Well,
but the problem shouldn't exist in the first place. It's like, no.
I think this kind of links to like the safe memory thing too. Like if your memory, you should know what you're doing with your memory. Like,
Well,
you shouldn't
memory
be
safety,
overriding
I've really been debating this myself, like,
have
and
no
it's like,
desire for
maybe,
memory safety.
but
I
not
mean,
for every domain. Memory
I've had
safety is
one.
the domain problem.
I've had one
Mhm.
issue my whole life where memory, where like them checking the memory bounds would have solved something, but that I can name one.
Mm.
And just because Windows wasn't giving what I expected, that was literally it. So, but it's just
It's a domain problem, not an actual like language problem or anything like that. Like certain domains, you need safety, but other domains, like, it doesn't really give a damn, do you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you should know, but once again, like you should know how memory works. Like you shouldn't be.
I think you should
more than
understand what
have.
the underlying hard architecture is. Like, you understand what the hardware you're working on. That's not to a
There's
point.
also a problem of what context is your program in. Is it security vital or not?
Yeah.
Changes
Exactly.
whether or not I care about memory safety. Because if I have a bug, but I'm guaranteed no bug I write can ever create a security vulnerability in this certain way, that's maybe nicer than saying, look, you could actually have a security vulnerability if your code isn't perfect. Well, my code's not going to be perfect. Garbage collection isn't like memory security, though, because with garbage collection, there's no the failure case is that you forget to free memory and you can't allocate, right?
Mm.
And that's always a bug. There's never a time when oh, sometimes we need this, sometimes we don't. It's like you always need to free your memory, but you don't always need to protect it, right? So it makes sense to say that we will systematize memory protection sometimes because we need to turn that on and off and stuff. But memory, I guess I'm explaining this backwards from the way I'm thinking about it. But the point is supposed to be, with memory, there's always kind of a very straightforward way to handle it. So you don't ever need. There's no other option. There's never. Sometimes I don't know when to free. I don't know when. How would I ever not know when to free my memory? I don't understand, honestly.
Exactly.
no,
You should know the lifetime, or if you don't know the lifetime, you know the approximate lifetime of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's either going to be permanent or it's going to be very temporary.
Yeah,
Like you may not know the exact lifetime, but you know if this happens, it needs to free.
Garbage collection is
You know the
honestly
conditions for it
pure laziness. That's the only
Yeah.
reason it's getting like. There's no reason for us to have it. There's no reason for it to exist. It's just people are lazy and they don't want to actually understand how things.
Well, it's not laziness. It's that I think people think, great, I shouldn't need to worry about memory allocation, which I completely agree. You shouldn't need to worry about it, but I don't think you should need to.
Not
But
worry.
Like
Concept
garbage
of
collection
memory
doesn't
is in
solve that
conflicts in the
worry.
first
It actually creates another worry on top. It's like, oh great, when is the garbage collection going to execute? Wait, whoops. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think languages, or even like maybe libraries, is probably a better like idea in my opinion. Should know how to allocate your memory. Like, hey, this memory should be allocated permanently, or this memory should be allocated like transiently, like for a few frames or seconds or whatever you need to be used for. I think that's what you should be solving, not the actual like forgetting about the memory, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you're saying. The nice thing about a garbage collector is that I can't forget to free my memory, but
exactly,
but
because it does it for me.
But yeah, but it's like how often are you writing free that you're forgetting? It doesn't make sense. Like if you have something, I don't know. I still think the easiest way to think about it in my head is that you've got this crazy like graph coloring NP hard problem that you're solving, and it's like I mean you're saying 99%. In my experience, I've never not had enough context to know when to free the memory. Right?
I know
Even if
99% was like an underestimate, really, to be honest.
Right,
But
like to have a situation where I wouldn't know whether or not memory needed to be freed, I would have to be in a situation where, first of all, it would have to be some kind of API interface where someone else is also brokering the memory, and I don't necessarily know if they're done with it or not. And then I would need like also to have.
If they're giving you the
but
memory,
then it's an API problem, not
Yeah,
your
exactly.
problem.
I don't think that there's a case where if I'm in control of all the code that I could even imagine not having the context, right? Like at worst, the thing I have to write will be as complicated as the garbage collector. But under what circumstances is my problem actually that complicated? I think zero. Like I don't think problems.
I mean, memory is.
I'm solving an NP hard problem myself. Maybe I don't know.
I can see if memory was like a hard thing for us to manage, but it isn't. Memory is super easy. You malloc, if you malloc, you free. Like it's not like this isn't a crazy concept.
I think it's also a language problem as well. Like you should have something like a scope exit or a defer or whatever in your language. Like if you allocate something, you defer, you deallocate.
Well, that's
afterwards.
the awesome thing about garbage collection is it doesn't even let you express the idea of when the scope of the memory should be if you do know it. Like
again, that's great about garbage collection.
It doesn't just get rid of it when you're in scope. That's not a thing. I've never used the garbage collector language, but I'm assuming like if you're like in some block of code, you allocate some memory, you knew it. As soon as you get out of that scope, it deallocates it. I would assume.
Well, my understanding is that it still does scoping things. Like if you're in Java, that's the basic language. If you don't use new, then it has basically the same rules. But if you use new or whatever the Java equivalent is, then it's just completely like arbitrary. Whenever the garbage collector kicks in and decides you don't need this anymore,
it's how it works from C# is yes, there are still stack-based variables. They of course get deallocated when you go out of scope, unless it's strings. Then it's whenever. But basically, how it works for anything heap allocate is the garbage collector runs at set intervals, or if you call it yourself, you cannot call it on specific things, but you can say, hey, go through all your garbage collection things now. And it will then go through each object and say, is this being used anywhere? Or does it still need to be used? No, I'll delete it, or else if it even thinks that you might use it, it will keep it alive.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, like, if you have accidentally left alive a reference to a container that contains references to other things, those things can't be freed, even if the bug is that you have this reference and you meant to free all the other ones, right? Yeah. This is something Lulu is garbage collected, and I decided to stop using it because of the garbage collection. I couldn't figure out how to reliably make sure certain objects were destroyed, which was not acceptable to me, right? Because I was like, I can call the thing that says shut this thing down, but I don't know that the object is gone because I might have accidentally kept a reference to it in a table somewhere, and unless in Lua it's nil. Unless I set that to nil, the garbage collector doesn't know that I'm done with it.
Yeah, it's the same thing in C#.
Actually,
this is the problem. The garbage collection adds more problems to what it actually solves. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't solve the problems. It's actually thing is, it doesn't actually solve a problem that was exist in the first place. It's kind of created a problem.
Well, Actually, what's interesting is when you talk to like academics across all of computer science, there are things called garbage collectors that have nothing to do with languages that make perfect sense. And one example
yeah.
is on a disk, you have to like when you've deleted files, it's not efficient to do anything with those. You just ignore them and make the space available.
Yeah.
But eventually, you want to be able to write things in sort of log, like you want to write things in sequential orders on a lot of disk structures, right? So you have to like garbage collect by make new space on the disk, right? And they call that garbage collection. Because it's a similar problem of like, oh, this thing is no longer referenced in this file system, so we can move this thing into that space, and it's more about like managing your how much like contiguous blocks of memory than trying to free little things that you left dangling out over here somewhere. But somehow I think what happened was they're like, oh, we had to solve this problem for these domains where it actually was like the best way to solve it was to do something similar to what we call garbage collection in languages, a similar algorithm. But now they're like, oh, we've got this technology, let's just apply it everywhere without thinking, was this something that was a problem in these other domains, or are we just taking our algorithms to places they don't belong, right? I think that's what kind of actually maybe happened, because I can't imagine you sitting down ever and being like, the thing that messes me up all the time is like memory leaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one memory leak, and I don't know what it was. Like, I think I've had one big memory leak in my entire life. It was because I was doing something weird with like pre-compiled headers and stuff like that.
I get memory leaks from time to time, but I also find them easy enough to debug if I notice them. Like, and I always notice them because I watch Task Manager like neurotically.
Yeah,
while
yeah.
programming.
Yeah, I get loads of memory leaks, but that's because I write hack memory leak next to it because I know it's a memory leak. I just don't give a damn.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there's some memory leaks you just don't need to care
Like
about.
that.
Like,
Yeah, it's
that's
like I
okay.
know it's a memory leak. I don't give a damn. That's literally most of my memory leaks.
I also
Just I haven't
love
done
there's
it.
the theoretical memory leak that is like there's the awesome question of how do you classify an allocation as a memory leak or not? Because for instance, in my meta generator, I call malloc and I never call free, right? And the reason is because I'm not going to run out of memory before the program is done, so I don't care, right? Even though
Yeah.
if you were going to make this take the same code and copy paste it somewhere else, it would be a problem, because if you call this 1,000 times, now you've got 1,000 things. You might start getting close to running out. In the context, though, I know I'm not running out of memory.
Yeah.
Whereas if I did the same thing in forcoder, that might need some. I run that for days straight. Like I just don't close it and keep running. If it doesn't crash, it stays open, right? And if I had memory leaks there, they would build up over time and potentially show up on like Task Manager. So I love the concept that in garbage collection, I don't get to specify, oh, don't bother spending any time freeing stuff because it doesn't matter. You can't even specify these things, right? It's taken control of something that's actually not a hard problem to solve, but a critical one for you to control. So it's done two dumb things simultaneously.
If the leak isn't growing, I don't care. Like, if it's leaking, if I know it's leaking and it's not growing, whatever.
Yeah, I don't even think it qualifies. If your leak
Does
is
it even qualify
if
for a leak?
if you have an O1 size leak, I don't even know if that's a leak anymore. It has to be an
Yeah.
ON size leak.
Like you've got a bucket and you know it's only got like a few ounces of water in it, like, and it's only spilled all that. That's fine. It's not like
Yeah.
it's an infinitely filling bucket.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like people like lose their mind. Even like when I just stream, sometimes you're like, "That's a leak. Or that's a leak. You should clear your handle. You should dereference that argument that's being packaged in." I don't care.
Yeah, I think
Again, the problem seems to be more like it's not the actual like the memory itself's the problem. That's actually how you allocate it,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. That's the problem to solve.
I think like a lot of concerns would be way more valid if the OS didn't clear up memory handles and all that at application exit. Then I think a lot of people will have a lot of
obviously,
problems.
then if your allocations, I mean, with virtual memory, there's no way that could possibly happen. But if you did have the ability to step on other people's toes, then obviously you'd care. I think not in a sense, freeing memory that is going to be irrelevant when the process ends is kind of wasteful.
Well,
it's literally pointless, because when an operating system is done with a process, it doesn't have to free those things. It just says we close this virtual memory system down. Like it's free. So don't free the memory, because that costs time, and shutting down the process, there's no time cost in that. So you're actually just wasting time.
Why would I waste the end of my program clearing my 1 gig memory block, exiting, closing all my handles, exiting the window, destroying the context. Why would I waste all that time? It does it all for me.
Yeah. The only one the thing that's awesome, of course, is that Windows has gifted us with a few things that if you don't close them, do stay open forever.
Like anything in Direct 3D.
Mm-hmm. The event tracing API. If you ever read the Casey blog post on the event tracing API,
I haven't. I heard he gets really heated.
It's really awesome. It's really awesome. That one is there's a single use resource in the entire system. One resource. It's not. You can't have two processes that both do the same thing if it's this one thing, because there's one resource in the system. So whoever has it, and if you forget to release it, then you have to shut down and restart to fix your bug. Wow. Because if you didn't or if your program crashed, it's still allocated. It doesn't automatically release. So,
I mean, that's how it is if you don't close your handles with when you open a file, you have to close the handle. You can't do anything with it until you exit the program.
The only reason you have to close your file handles is if you want them to save properly. You don't have to close them before the program closes.
I mean, I believe you because you've done this a million times. It's like something sounds wrong. I don't know.
No, I know that because you have to close the handle when you're done with it because it causes a lot of problems, but it does not cause the same problem I'm talking about now. If I have a handle open and my program crashes, that file isn't locked, right? Other people can it's now open to anyone doing anything, right? The application. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It doesn't, the only thing you have to close the handle for is that if you don't close the handle, it causes a million other problems. Like while the handle is open, other people can't use it. But if the program closes, it does free that handle for you. It also won't necessarily flush the buffers and save correctly if you don't close the handle. It'll be like, oh, we got to shut this down the fast way, so we don't necessarily save properly. So yeah, I would say it's good to close your file handles, but it's not as bad as event tracing.
Oh yeah, for sure. The event tracing API I've heard is the worst API on Windows. So I haven't used it, but.
How much work did it? I know you've been working on this entire file tracking system for Code. How bad was it that to make? Like, how annoying?
I probably overcomplicated it. Well, no, okay. I didn't overcomplicate it. I just was expecting too much. I wanted to be able to reliably get an answer from the operating system about is this the name of this particular file? Does this name here represent a name that would link to this file? There's no way to do that efficiently, it turns out. It just can't be done. The hack that I've come up with is that I say symlinks. I ignore those in Windows. In Linux, it's actually fast, so you can do it. But in Windows, I ignore the symlinks. But I do handle subs drives because I use them, and like everyone in the Handmade community uses them. So I gotta handle subs drives correctly.
Yeah.
But I do that because the way I can do that is at the beginning of the program, I just look at where the subs drives are. Those like never change. So I just look at where they all point, and then I make a lookup table that says if you see a W, that really means C : blah. Then I can canonicalize all names except for symlinks. And I say, look, if you're doing symlinks with your code files in Windows, if it's in Linux, I understand why you're symlinking because like everything is symlinked. But in Windows, it's pretty odd. So like
symlink in Windows is just weird in the first place.
Yeah. So if you did that in Windows, I just like you're gonna have a weird little behavior, but it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah, but Unix philosophy, everything's a file. But in Windows, it's like some things are files, some things aren't. Yeah,
right.
whatever.
No, what do you mean Windows philosophy? What are you talking about?
There's no Windows philosophy. That's the true answer.
I did the symlink stuff for Ludus on Windows.
Bizarre, right?
It breaks.
It was
It's
absolute.
Yeah, it's not.
And I consider myself good at Batch, but holy fucking shit.
Yeah, so I decided that was nonsense, and I ignored that. The other thing that's crazy is Windows on Linux. They've done this correctly in the sense that you can say, I want to watch this file, or I want to watch this directory and all the things under this file. And they've got this beautiful system where they give you a handle, and you wait on e-notify or whatever it's called. I can't remember insofar as handles it, so I don't totally know. But I think it's e-notify or something. You just pull from one thing that tells you, I've got a notification from this handle, and you look at that handle and you go, oh, that's this file has updated, or oh, that's this process, this child process has new output or something. It's perfect. And all the systems run through one polling system. On Windows, no such luck. So what I eventually ended up coming up with was I wanted to be able to reliably know when a file has been changed, and at the same time know if this is what file, like do these two file names represent the same thing? And eventually I decided that you can't really get them both from Windows at the same time. So what I got is, and the reason you can't is mostly because, hold on one second, I'm trying to turn the light on. The reason you can't is because, first of all, Windows doesn't let you say, I want to watch this file or this directory. You can only watch a directory.
Yeah.
Right. So once you watch the directory, it'll send you notifications about all the files that change in that directory, and then you have to see if you care. You have to read it and see, do I care about this change? Right. So that's fun. So I wrote the thing that looks and watches a directory, and what I wanted it to do was to handle the incoming messages and translate them and block the ones I don't care about. Right. This is just the way it works. The same way it works on Linux. But then the second problem is, how do I keep track of the files that I care about versus the ones I don't? And the wonderful thing about Windows is, and to some extent I understand why this might be true, but I feel like, it's an operating system. It seems solvable to me. I understand it's going to have a cost, but I think it's a cost that's worth it. But maybe not. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I don't know. I'm not an operating system expert. But what you can't do is you can't say, here is 164 or 128 or one fixed size identifier that is unique to this file forever, as long as it's not deleted, right? You can't do that. And the reason you would want to do that is because then you can just store a fixed size thing that says, all right, when a file comes to me, I look at its unique identifier versus the ones I've stored and check them. Now, there are things that are close to this, but the problem is a few applications, when they save over a file, will change this number. Visual Studio is one of those programs, and it's one of the ones I need to sync with all the time. So it doesn't work, right? So for some reason, once in a while, that thing that's close to a unique identifier, it's still unique, but it can change, right? That's a problem. I need to be unique and stable through the lifetime of the file. Linux has this, at least while the file, while you haven't done anything crazy to reformat the drive or anything, all of the numbers stay the same, right? On Windows, you don't get this. So I go file name, but like we just discussed, there are many names for a file on Windows because it's not case sensitive. Forward slashes and backslashes are the same thing. There are subdirectories. So what I ended up doing was saying,
you've also got all the other stuff it's either ASCII or UTF-8.
Yeah,
UCS2,
are you naming with ASCII or UTF-8 or blah blah blah, blah, blah. There's so many ways to name a single file, so that if I get the message back, I don't know necessarily that they're giving it to me in the format that will match the way I try to store it. And also the secondary problem of that means you have to store variable length strings in this system and allocate and remove them. That's kind of like it's more cost that I want to spend on this problem. So the API I came up with did not solve any of these problems. All it does is you say, I want to watch this file, and then I can ask, do you have any change notifications for me? And it's allowed to return the bogus change notifications, and the application, not the operating system layer, the application has to vet those out, because at least on the application layer, I do keep track of each file and I can make a hash table of them, right? So at the operating system layer, it's allowed to return bogus back to you, and you have to check if the things it returns are good file change notifications. And so finally, the last thing I did to make it work was I said, I'm going to make it one single function, doesn't call it the operating system, to canonicalize a name. And all that does is lowercase everything, make sure it's all forward slashes, make sure it doesn't have any dot slash or dot slashes in it, parse all of those out and fix them. And then finally, if it's a subdirectory, replace it with the correct C: version of that directory, right? So that's what canonicalize name does. And that way I have a unique name for every file. Unless it's symlinked, right? But it's almost correct. It's almost correct, and that's as good as it's ever going to get, because I spent 2 weeks working on this, and it's bullshit.
And the only thing the man wanted was to know if a file has changed.
All I wanted was
it's not as simple as get file attributes ex, is it now? But no.
I wish I could just sit. Some of these things just make me wish I could sit on Linux all day, but they just don't have any.
No, see, what you could do is you could get file attributes ex every frame, but then
Oh,
you have to do that
gosh.
on all of your files, or you have to like
Exactly.
periodically do
It's
this.
not.
I want the
it's-
notification. It's so straightforward. You know when this is happening. I
You like
put
to
just
know per file, not all files. It's
right,
like
and I could understand why maybe you're doing that because it's like you have to. Maybe you're worried that like people are going to just register all these file watchers across the whole thing, and I'm going to have so much data to keep track of which app processes are watching which files. Um, I feel like the performance cost of the shit I have to do is worse than what would have happened if you just gave me the solution to the problem. But
yeah.
But
Or-
anyway, but that's
or unique file IDs. That's the other thing you could do to make my life. So many things that could have made my
unique
life better.
file IDs is apparently an unsolved problem in the Windows user space. And
Like
sadly,
before.
we do not have the choice because we have to end. So thank everybody. Thank everybody for watching. I hope you had a great time. I'll see ya next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.